I believe we are live, but let me just double check.
Yes, we are. Nice.
Yes, we are. All right, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to African Conversations. And we are excited to be with you again. I'm back with my sister, Ifa Motupwe, and Yeye is attempting to sign on, so she'll be trying to get her camera together. How you doing today, Sister Ifa Motupwe? And how was your weekend?
It was a great weekend, nice and sunny, but not too hot.
Yes.
Very productive, but restful too. It was a good weekend. How was your weekend?
It was great. I got a lot of things done, and I actually took some naps, so that was good.
Yeah, I like me and naps. We in a serious relationship.
Right on. So, is it hard for you to take naps, or it just kind of flows?
I just let them come. Especially now that my schedule's not all packed with a bunch of commitments. I let my body do what it needs to do because I recognize too that we're under a lot of stress. That's not. It's not kind of like direct stress. It's like just the environment that we are living in right now has its own stresses, and we don't always acknowledge them. And so you may be tired just from life in general. There's something to walking around, seeing people in masks, and understanding the gravity of a global pandemic that will tire you out. Also, when you see things like, even if it's just a snippet of news of people going against the grain, there's a lot of, I noticed an increase in traffic and less people taking precautionary measures just in the area, just in the places that I go on a regular basis, like to the grocery store or whatever, Home Depot, all the stuff. And so that kind of adds to my stress. I recognize that it can, and whether or not I feel anxious in the moment doesn't really matter. Because when you're sitting at home by yourself, it can impact you over a period of time. And we've been in quarantine for a cool little minute here.
Yeah, 2 months, maybe. Yeah, 2 months now.
Yeah.
You see any spiritual significant meaning around this quarantine or virus at all?
Yeah, because, well, for one thing, you can't run from yourself. You can't run from yourself, and you can't run from the people that are around you. So whatever choices you made in terms of the people that you're going to shelter in place with, and then some people are face to face with their children's true behavior, not just who they thought their children were. Some people are face to face with their mates' true behavior, not just who they thought they were. I mean, when you think about how much time we spend away from each other during the day, and the small amount of time that we spend together, some people can send in their representative when they get home and really be their self out in the streets. And some people, it's not always the reverse. And so now we really get to see what our lives consist of, the essential pieces of our lives. Our homes, are they in good repair or disrepair? Our relationships, are they in good standing, or do we need to put some energy and time in there? And then with ourselves and spiritually, it's an opportunity I have basically recreated my whole devotional practice, like my prayer time and my meditation time. I've been able to do it the way that I really feel it and let it come into being, rather than me just saying, well, since I have to be at work at this time, this is the time I'm going to pray. I can pray at a time when I have my most energy. And I feel, yeah.
I don't know.
I want you to come on, and it just came on, so you're okay.
Yeah, it said it just didn't want to be bothered. It just took its time.
Yeah. That happens. It's good to see you. We're glad
It's good to see you too. I haven't seen you for a whole weekend.
I know.
How was your weekend where you were?
Oh, it was wonderful. They're scaling back here in terms of being indoors, and so we went to the beach yesterday. What a joy! Oh God, everybody must have been going. You know, there's the whole island is beach, so there's plenty of room. Is you know, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful to be at the feet of Yemaya and to sit in the sun and to read my books and yeah, lovely.
I can see you got some sun on you.
Oh yeah, and don't you worry, don't don't you worry. As time passes, you're gonna say, "Oh, I wonder what happened to that other woman." Because I'm going, my melanin is gonna shine through. Yes, indeed.
I said.
I was asking Ifa Multiply with the quarantine and all of that. Do you think there is any spiritual significance to the quarantine or to the virus for us right now? Now that we're 2 months in?
There's so much I could say about this whole situation. I'm kind of a skeptic sort of person when it comes to government and things like this. What I can say is we have been given an opportunity to look at our mess and clean it up. And we're talking about everybody wants to go back to normal. Well, we don't want to go back there. We want a new normal. We need to. This is a warning. We talked, I don't know, last week or the week before about you get a tap and then you get a knock and then you get a hit upside the head. Yeah, it comes in stages. Well, I mean, Mother Earth has been telling us for years. And of course, I remember the Pataki, the story of Oshun when she said, "Don't mess with me again, because when don't do it again. Don't mess with the waters." And we've been told over and over again. We get it with the fires and the storms, the all of the things that have happened through nature. It's telling us, stop what you're doing. But this time, we really had to stop.
Yeah.
We really had to stop dead in our tracks and look at how we live, how we relate to one another, and make some adjustments. Another thing that became very clear for me, and I'm sure everybody else, is we have no control over what happens to us. We have no control over our education, over our health, over going to the grocery store to get food to eat. We got to start growing our own foods, or at least our herbs and just a little small garden. So you have a potato you can dig out of the ground and eat it. God bless Javon. She's starting a beautiful place. Yeah. But we all ain't gonna be able to get to her place to eat. So we're going to have to do something ourselves. We have to learn how to grow our own food. And if we eat meat, pure meat that we grow, our animals that we tend to ourselves, our own chickens for sure, if you want eggs, and other animals, we're going to have to learn how to hunt and skin our animals and slaughter our animals. And you know that in Ifa, we've been doing that.
Yes.
Well,
So,
Sister Allison on here is greeting you all. She says the earth is realigning itself. People don't want to admit it. The pandemic showed the power comes from no man or God.
exactly. I agree.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah. We depend on our governments for too much. And I'm not just talking about the United States, I'm talking about the world. We depend on them for everything. We don't even know our own remedies to cure ourselves anymore. And we don't know the herbs and the vegetation that grows right outside our door, how to pick it and to make our teas and our tinctures and our ointments. We don't know how to mend our broken bones. We don't know jack shit when you really think about it, you know? So this is our opportunity. And it's a blessed opportunity, even though it was not the best situation. It's our opportunity to change the way we are walking on Mother Earth. The other thing is, we have to realize, I know I never thought about it really before, when we can get on a plane, that's a whole story in and of itself, the planes, because they need a lot of help. But if we can get on a plane and fly to Africa or fly to India or fly to the United States, Canada, wherever we fly, that is a blessing to be able to get to other countries. So it's not something that we should, if we can possibly not put it off forever. You know, you keep putting it, I want to go here, I want to go there. If you can, make an effort to really get to other places while we can get there. I mean, you can always get in a boat, but that's a horse of another color. You know, I can't swim back to the United States. I have to get on a plane to get there. So, yeah, there's a lot that comes out of what is taking place with this pandemic. A lot. How do we relate to each other in terms of our touching? What about our supermarkets and touching the foods and washing our hands? People don't wash their hands. People don't wash their body. You know, we got to keep our bodies clean, a clean mind, clean bodies, clean spirit. I can go on and on and on.
No. But the one question I wanted to ask, how does a shoe, like I wanted today to talk a little bit about a shoe, only because there's this kind of ideas about who people think a shoe is. There's always something about the horns and the devil, you know, him being the keeper of the way, but what does that really mean? Could y'all talk about that just a little bit? And why is he so significant? Why is his shoe so significant?
After I greet my Ori, I greet Eshu every day and ask him for his blessings. He's the manifester. I know a lot of times we could say he's the trickster, but he allows us to make those decisions that point us in the right direction. I always equate Eshu with my free will. he shows me the way. Here's the road. Now you decide which way you're going to go. North, south, east, west, whatever it is. You decide which way you're going to go. Eshu and Elegwa or Elegba are different aspects of that same energy. In Lukumi, I always go back to our slight differences. In Lukumi, we say Elegwa or Elegba. In Ifa, we say Eshu. Eshu lives outside our doors, if you can. I mean, if you live in an apartment in New York, that's a horse of another color. But if you live where you can put your Eshu outside, that's where he goes. Whereas Elegba usually goes more inside, at the door. At the door, he's a warrior. He's one of your warriors. He keeps you safe. He keeps danger away. But he's your free. He is the harbinger of free will. You can go this way or that way. He's the door opener. My son is here with me, and he said, opens the door. Yes, he's the door. He's the one who opens the way, who opens the road. I ask him every morning when I speak with him to please open the road, make the road smooth for me today, if possible. Show me the way. You know, he's the pathfinder. He opens the way. Ifamotupwe, give me your wisdom on that.
Probably the thing that I say to Eshu more frequently than anything is Eshu Mashemio, which means do not confuse me. Because Eshu is a friend to Olumala, and as an Ifa priest, I want Eshu to be my friend, like Eshu is a friend to Olumala, and so Eshu has, I think, gotten a bad rap because people automatically go to that trickster archetype, and that's not well, it doesn't limit anyone but us when we think of Eshu in that way, because you know, Eshu being the door opener can open a door that no man can close, and can close the door that no man can open. So if somebody's trying to get to you, Eshu can close that door so they are confused and don't even see you. And that's the beauty of associating Eshu with free will, is that he's impartial. So it takes for you to go, and I learned this real early from, I would say this is one of the gifts that my godparents gave me, was learning how to ask for what you want. Because we are socialized a lot of time as women to feel like it's in poor taste to ask for what you want. That you should just let things come free, let people give you what they want to give you, and be grateful. And so that's also kind of what a lot of Christianity teaches. It's not necessarily, it's not really operating in your own best interest all the time. It's kind of letting life happen to you rather than taking control of yourself and your life and covering the ground that you stand on. And so Eshu is that, stands at that crossroad. Like, what is your true intention? And so by you asking SU for something and doing whatever it is that's required of you for you to get it, a lot of times it will reveal to you a part of yourself, in the way that you have asked for something. So it will help you to refine kind of how you look at the world, help you to refine how you see things that you desire. So a lot of times, because of the world we live in, we tend to be pretty superficial about our asks, or we tend to be pretty superficial about our approach to things, and that may not serve us in a great way. Sometimes you need SU to help you to unlock something within yourself, so you can access, a part of your superpowers. So you can access your divinity, so you can access a divine idea that will take you to the next level, and help you to find. Anytime I lose something, I go directly to SU.
Yeah.
And I say, nothing's ever lost, Baba. So if I get some support in locating this thing, I'll be grateful, and I'll spit some rum or whatever. Even if it's just my keys, because they say SU sits in every corner and every doorway. So if you don't have a physical SU shrine, there are other ways to access SU at the crossroads. And there's a song. Well, whose song is that? Bone Thugs and Harmony, Meet Me at the Crossroads. It's a portal, you know what I mean, between the seen and the unseen. So SU is a part of every ritual, because what we're doing with ritual is we're accessing the spirit world. We're accessing another dimension. We're accessing things that we can't see with our two eyes. And so SU is there to open the door, and also known as the master communicator, to translate for us those things that we are incorrectly pronouncing in Yoruba. Those things that we might only know in English or Spanish. Those things that, you know what I mean? As that's a gift, to have access to that power that controls the portal, controls the translation of intention into word, into prayer, into meditation, or however you're communicating.
I find with my I agree with everything. I find with my pronunciation of Yoruba that there are prayers and devotions that I learn almost instantly. And then there are the others that I don't care how many times I try, the pronunciation is just an American trying to speak Yoruba. It just don't work. But when I really get it, it's like I'm supposed to know this because it's almost instant. The other thing I wanted to say about SU is before we go to any of the Orisha, we propitiate Eshu. We go to Eshu so that he will open the road, and our prayers, whatever they may be, will be heard by the Orisha. He's like our go-between, so that he clears that road for us and gives us that straight road that we need, that connection to the Orisha. So you don't want to forget him at any ritual, any bembe, anything. You start with Eshu.
What is the significance of cigars inside of this tradition? Like, why is there, even, when people are doing rituals and ceremonies, why the cigar?
That's a really good question. Now, for me, there are Babas, Babalao, or other Babas who divine with cigars. They use a cigar to divine. I've run into that. I've run into that twice. I have a Baba in Panama, and he's a Babalao. He divines with a cigar.
I've had that.
Yeah. Now, what the other significance of it is that just like with incense, your prayers or your whatever you are doing, your ritual, your prayer, that's the smoke of the cigar goes into the ethers and takes your prayers with it. Oh, and it's nothing like a Cuban cigar. If you go get, you put that picture up there. I love seeing the sisters here with their cigar. Go get yourself a Cohiba. Yeah, I had that Cohiba Cuban cigar, and but be careful. Don't inhale it deeply, or else you'll never stop coughing. Yeah. So it carries your prayers. It's the fire. It's the element of fire, and it carries your prayers. Just like if you use incense. Don't forget, Native Americans use tobacco as an offering to the spirits.
Yes.
Just like a cigar is an offering. I always have a cigar on my altar, either for Eshu and for Ogun. As my son brings me, I don't know if you can see it, my Ogun liquor. And my Ogun, not mine, it's his. Now you want to have you some of this. See, this helps. This it helps you to speak. Yes, to speak, and it holds ashe. Yes, and our ancestors. See, I should put my son on here. He's telling me as I'm talking. He said yes, and our ancestors. Yeah, our ancestors. But look at this. This is good. This is some good stuff, but it's strong. Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Well, Donna, our dear queen, says that in one of John Mason's books, he translates a prayer that basically says we offer cigar for satisfaction or maybe comfort.
Yes.
And somebody said right on, mother. So yeah, like, hey, I'm trying to get my skills up in here. Yeah, I didn't meet you. Hold on. I didn't meet you. Yeah, she must have muted herself. Okay.
Yeah, I muted my. I forgot I muted.
I was like, did I mute you?
No, I muted myself because of the dog. Anyway, what was I going to tell? Oh, and don't forget that our tradition is a winding road. And we have to think about not that the traditional part of our Ifa, not that they don't use the cigar, but when we think about Cuba, that was part of Cuba's That's what they do. They manufacture cigars. So that's what they would use. We use what is germane to where we find ourselves. So if you are someplace where, for instance, the cola nut and the coconut, we had, when we came over on this side of the Atlantic, we had to find a substitute for the cola nut because there was no cola nuts here. So we had to divine with something, and we came up with the coconut. And so OB. So some people use that when they divine. It's a form of divination. It's different from the Ifa divination systems, the Opele and the other systems that we use in Ifa. So I suspect that a lot of that came up with this. Can you see it? I don't know if you can. Oh, here we go. With the cigar as well, that tobacco was growing, and so they used it to propitiate the Orisha. And you know, the Orisha talk to us. They tell us what to use. You know, how did somebody come up with the coconut over on this side of the Atlantic to use instead of the cola nut? The Orisha tell us. The spirit tells us. You know, they talk to us.
You look just like the women holding these cigars. Like, it's still over my skin. But you that look just, you look just like the, yeah. It looked just like the, I love it. I love it. What is the significance of the head wrap for Jesta?
Oh, the Gaily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, like, that's just so bomb. Like, what's the significance of that? Anybody?
Oh, go ahead, Ifama Dupuy. Go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah.
No. All I was going to say about that is, again, coming from Africa and being stolen and brought to this side of the Atlantic, if you notice, our women always had their head wrapped. We wrap our head not only, boy, we as Black women, we are some kind of, we're smart.
Royal.
Yeah, we're royal. Because we wrap it to protect our Ori. Yes, we do that. But we also want to be looking good. And you see them pictures? Those pictures that now, look at that yellow gaily she's got on her head with that red flower in the middle. Boy, I'd like to get my hands on that one. That, you know, you want to find a nice piece of material and wrap your head. And now we have all kinds of ways of wrapping up. In Nigeria, some of the material and wraps that they have are breathtaking. It's for religious, spiritual purposes to protect our heads. It also, we're very practical. It keeps the dirt out of your hair when you're working. That's what our ancestors used for. You go out there in them cotton fields and whatnot, and you got the bugs and the everything else. You wrap up your head so that it keeps your hair clean. And then it's good also for those, as they call it, bad hair days. I don't have those. My head might look a mess, but it ain't nothing bad about it. Anyway, you know, we can, you know, I always have on something on my head. You can put something on your head and you be looking nice. God help that head underneath there, though. It be looking, It be looking kind of raggedy sometimes. But yeah, now if we're going to talk about the get into spiritual part of it, other than a protection for our connection to spirit, because our Ori is our connection to spirit, to God source energy. And so that is the only explanation I know of in terms of our daily or our head wraps. I don't know if there is some other spiritual connection.
Anything you want to add to that, Ifa Modupe?
I think there are cultural significances of the head wrap, like it's when it's tied different ways, it means different things, or has different social status things. But I don't know specific to that. I just know like that's a thing. You could probably just share with us that information to have more insight into it. But yeah, just protection of the Ori and beautification, adornment, which is of huge significance for African women because we struggle with our standard of beauty. Let's say that we have. I'm not all of us struggle, but there is a struggle to be had or wavering. There's not a lot in that we can see just out in society in this country that lends to our beauty no matter what. So the head wrap is one of the things that we playing as a way of beautification. It's one of the more difficult things for people to steal because they don't know how to tie them. You know what I mean? Like we see them take the cornrows and the braids and all the stuff, but they don't fool with these head wraps, especially not those intricate ways of tying it that came over from the continent. Like they ain't playing with that. And a lot of that stuff, I don't even know how to do. I have to get someone to help me out when it's time to do it. But it's just, it's a beautiful way for us to adorn ourselves in alignment with our own history, culture, and it has spiritual significance too. But I think how we show up in the world matters.
All right. I'm going to share another photo, but I wanted to know what is the significance of white paint, white dots. And here the picture is. You see people like this. Y'all see the picture?
Oh yeah.
Significance of the white dots, the white paints, white cloth.
Well, the white cloth is Obatala, but Ifa Modupe, you were initiated in Yoruba land, so I'm going to make.
I got chalked up.
Yeah,
I got chalked up. Well, it's also part of. They say that when you are praying to Olokun or doing ritual for Olokun, that you also should chalk your face because it's a sign of being transformed to the other side. You can't not death, but well, yeah, I guess in a sense, out of the body. So it's another link between the seen and unseen here in the spirit world. The dots are for certain initiations and rituals like that. So like the picture you have up is from it looks like two secret societies, Ogboni and Oro, which are not really don't have a strong presence in the new world, we'll say. Those are specific to the continent mostly. There are some Babalao who have those initiations here in the States, but I don't think they operate as fraternities or cult, so to speak. They are secret societies. And there's, I know that they also do that, I think, during the initiation for Obaluaye. And Egungun too, I think. But I don't have any of those initiations, so that's why I'm saying this is what I've seen, but I don't know for sure. And so, but I do know that the chalk, the Ephraim, it serves a lot of purposes. But when you see someone completely chalked up, they are having a spiritual experience that relates to them being out of the body. So in initiation, you are being prepared to move with grace between the seen and the unseen. And then when you are dealing with a local, that's also an aggressive energy that takes you to the other side. Local is said to be the protector of our collective consciousness. In other words, all of the experiences of the ancestors live at the bottom of the ocean.
Mm. And that makes perfect sense, because anytime that I go to the Atlantic, and that's, on the East Coast, and into the Caribbean, and the East Coast of South America, there is a huge difference in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Not that, well, it's the salt content is part of it. But isn't that funny? Yesterday when I was at the beach, when I was sitting there and talking to the water spirits, the Atlantic for me holds the energy of my ancestors. I feel it, I smell it, I experience it, I love it. It's a silkiness that comes over me when I walk into the waters of the Atlantic. It's like my ancestors are hugging me or protecting me. And I don't get when I walk into the Pacific. Now that could be my own, psyche playing tricks with me, but it's the way I feel. When you're in Panama, when we were in Panama, we went to the Pacific side. You can go to the Pacific side or the Atlantic side, that's what Panama is. It is that place where the Pacific and the Atlantic cross at the Panama Canal. So you can go to the Pacific side, and I have to tell you, that's not my cup of tea. It's just not, but when I was at the ocean with a couple of years ago with Rolanda and some other of the women, I was so happy to be at Ye Maya's feet. It felt that's one time it felt good to me, but I wasn't swimming. I was just walking in the waters. But it felt good to have the ocean on my feet and my legs. To me, I'm an ocean person. I love it.
Yes.
What were we talking about? What was the question? I went off on this thing.
You led us right into the whole thing, the purpose of water and why so many of us go to the water and to the ocean to make these offers. And what's the significance of that in spirituality, in African spirituality? What does the water represent?
Well, water is a conductor of energy. That's number one. I can't think of any ritual that you do where you don't have a glass of water or a bowl of water, clear water. Water, we use water to pour libation. My son just reminded me of that. It's wonderful, when there's someone else that can remind you. Yeah, libation, we need, but you can do libation with liquor and with milk and with other things, but water carries that energy. It is a very strong exchanger of energy. You can look into the waters and see things. The waters can tell you things, and if you think of the elements, people say 4, I say 5, but that's just me. But out of those elements, you don't want to mess with water. Water puts out fire. Water is the most powerful. It finds its level. It can change the formation of rocks. Look at this, and I hate saying the Sphinx. I can't think of the correct term, but look at the Sphinx. The level they found, they can tell how old the Sphinx is. That it's more than 10,000 years old because of the water level. So water moves, water flows, water cleans, water refreshes. Water is 90% of what we are. Water is life, as Oshun said, as we learned from Oshe Otora. You cannot do anything on this planet without water. You must have water, and that's why we must pay attention and stop polluting the waterways. Now,
Want to add anything to that?
I think he said everything. Water is life. It is our life in terms of our physical makeup, and we can't go very long without water. We can't, we need water to wash everything so that it's clean for us. We need water to consume. We need water to live. We use water, like you're showing in the photos, for transportation. We use water for, water can be, it's a conduit. So it's alive, and then it also adds life. So we can feed water. Water will, just like we drink it to make sure that we don't die, we can also be submerged in water and die. So water is both sides of its own coin. It is, it is the most important thing for us. We use water to absorb energy. We use water to amplify energy. Water, it does everything. So it has great significance in all things, in life and spirit. Yeah.
And don't forget the water spirits.
Yes.
We there are many water spirits. This is outside of Ifa or that tradition. There are Mamiwata. There are other traditions that use water and have a very strong relationship with the water spirits. I personally, I'm very respectful of the waters, of the oceans. I'll tell you I'll make this really quick story. When my son was born, this is over 40 years ago, He was born in March. In July, August. So he was about 4 or 5, maybe September, 6 months old. Where I went to the beach and I was standing in the water to my knees. Maybe the water came up to the middle of my thigh, not high. And this wave came, and the waves have been coming, and they weren't really rough waves at all. But this wave came and it took him. And so, the wave comes in, it goes out. So he's going with the wave. And I didn't panic. I had some fear, yes, but I didn't panic. I just went underneath there. I got under the water. And I want you to know that in my experience, the experience I had, there are definitely water spirits because they brought him back. And I was able to get him under the water. I don't know, I couldn't have been under there long because I assume, but they're there. That's all I can tell you. You can see them, you can smell them, you can feel them. The water has life. There are spirits, there are water spirits. They exist if you have the ability to experience them. And that's only happened to me, well, more than once in my life. That's happened. So, so I do have this relationship with the spirits of the water because they gave my son back to me. Or I don't know why they took him. Maybe they took him to initiate him in some way or bless him in some way. Or I don't care why they took him. I just care that they brought him the hell back. Thank God.
Right on. So the picture on the screen is a photo from a candomblé ceremony in Salvador Bahia, Brazil. And I went to the Boa Morte Festival some years back. And it was very, very powerful because it's like in this picture, like a procession. And I don't think this is Boa Morte though, but they carrying a life-size statue of what would be like a Yemaya to the ocean. And one of the reasons one of the stories that they gave why they do that, in enslavement time, they were losing a lot of people to the water. Like men would go fishing and wouldn't come back. So they made these annual offerings to the water to guide their men back to them. That's why they do that. It's a huge, huge festival. The only thing that got me, because it was beautiful, the women were all dressed in white, like those really big, beautiful white dresses, like they look really big. I mean, they look so beautiful. The only thing that got me in doing that procession is as I was walking with the women, I was very excited. I've been studying them for years. And when I tilted my camera up and seeing what the statue looked like, that kind of got me. Because it was like all these beautifully black people. There was a few others there, but mainly it was black. And this humongous statue, because really men are carrying this. These women are elders. And the woman was so pasty white, I was like, Jesus. I was just like, damn. But Jeremiah Wright was there. And he had taken a delegation, so we got a chance to hang with his delegation. He had explained some of the stuff to me because it took the wind out of me just a little bit. Because I'm not one of those people like, it just happens to be. I don't believe it happens. Not when you live in a society that has white supremacy. I just don't believe in stuff like that. It's like, well, why couldn't it happen to be brown? Why couldn't it happen to be green? Like, I can think that. But I can't happen to be white. Like, that don't work too well for Lana. So, but it was a very powerful experience to see like those women, the whole community marching, taking her from the Catholic churches where she really is and marching her all the way to the water. As you can see, Absolutely powerful, powerful, powerful. Like this is the Boardwalk Day Festival. This is what the women look like.
Ooh.
It's all the white cloth, beautiful fabric, and lace, and the hair wraps, the gear. I mean, it was just so beautiful, and it was just I was watching with them, so I was just like, oh my goodness, like I went to Queen Mothers. This is incredible. It was absolutely beautiful. I was just so grateful to be amongst the number. There is something about Brazil that because they really are directly across the street, if you will, for lack of a better analogy, from Africa. So their history, the life expectancy of an enslaved person in Brazil was 7 years. And so we be over here on our stuff, which is more, I get it, but it's like 7 years. We got a chance to tour certain. So it was just interesting. That was the first time I seen a black saint inside of a Catholic church when I went to Brazil. Back.
Yeah.
So that's fear in my head. But it was just beautiful. So for me, I always like it when we can go to the ocean. We have on our whites or we do anything on our white. It's just something about the vibration that we experience with each other.
Yeah. That's what it is, that vibrational frequency that we reach when we step our foot into the ocean. And that's what I am trying to convey when I talk about the Atlantic Ocean or anyone, but for me, the Atlantic, when I put my feet in there, it's like I can feel the energy of those who were sacrificed. On that energy is not created. It never dies. It just simply transforms. So the energy of all of those thousands upon thousands of people, of our people who are in the Atlantic Ocean, who met there, who transitioned through jumping in because they refused to be enslaved, or being thrown in, however it happened, their energy is still in that ocean, for many of them. And so you can feel it. You can feel it. Water, a great conductor of energy.
The water is just so incredible. Like it's even something about the smell of water. You're coming up on a body of water, like when you're at the ocean, you can really smell it before you see it.
The salt.
Yeah.
The salt, it cleanses, If you have an abrasion of some kind in your wrist or your knees or your ankles, or you have road rash if you're on a bike and you meet the road, go to the ocean. If you wanted to take that away, whatever the malady must be or whatever it is, if you want the ocean to take it away, go when the tide is going out. If you want the ocean to bring you good news, good life, good abundance, go when the tide is coming in. And speak to Mama, speak to the water spirits, speak to Yemaya, speak to Mama Wata, speak to whoever is in your heart. Or you don't have to call them by name, just say water. Please bring me abundance, or water, take this pain from me, whatever. It's a conductor of energy. It's powerful. Powerful.
Well, yeah, the water pictures up there. But you said, if I want to play.
I said it transforms us as well, like on a cellular level, because water moves, and it holds the rhythm of the movement of the earth. So we can right our bodies in ways that we don't even know by submerging our bodies in the large bodies of waters like the ocean. you can feel yourself change if you're sensitive like that. The salt, even when we're taking a bath, um, you can shift your body's energy by ionizing the water with salt, Epsom salt, any kind of salt really ionizes the water, and it will interact with your body in a certain way that's very healing for you. Like I know that one of the things that keeps me healthy is being able to submerge my body in water, whether that's a bath, whether that's swimming in the ocean. Chlorine is not really my jam, but salt water does magnificent things, like Ia said. It also will lock our hair.
Yeah.
In the process of locking your hair, and you get in some salt water, it's gonna move that process right along for you. So, I mean, it's everything in terms of speeding up our evolution and getting our bodies to sync in with our spirits, and because that water is also physical and spiritual at the same time. So if you can, even just and if you can even just get in the water, but if you take an offering, that's even more, you're adding more ashe to the process of syncing, lining yourself up in a certain kind of way. We know that everything in the earth has a vibration, right? What will allow us to move forward and accomplish those things that we set out to do, whether they are transforming ourselves or physical manifestations in the earth, or however it goes. We can get in sync with the earth. We can draw on that power. And I would say there's a huge difference between the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, because so many of our ancestors' bones are at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean that it gives it a different kind of charge for us in terms of ancestral information. Like when we get in that water, our bodies begin to communicate with it. Even if you're not doing it consciously, it's happening. We have so much intelligence in each one of our cells. Like when we talk about science and the science of spirituality or spiritual alchemy and transforming ourselves, these are just tools that we can use. These understandings allow us to add purpose and power to each one of our actions. So it's not just for us to be sitting out on the beach tanning and then go get in the water and be cute. Like there's so much more to it for us. Whether we acknowledge it or not, it happens. And then if we acknowledge it, then it happens in a different kind of way that we get to experience it. The opportunity is to find joy in things that are not outside of ourselves. We can do that in the ocean very easily. I mean, that's a place that brings me joy, comfort, healing. It's got all the stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Got all the stuff.
So, family, I guess we're in the time where we're going to wrap up. 6 minutes gone by so quick. And yeah, as you were talking to me, I was trying to find this particular image right here. I'll bring it up in a minute. As you were sharing the story of your son, this is what I was thinking in my mind. It'll be up in a minute. How would you all like to wrap up today?
Well, I have just one very quick question. Oh, Lord, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh,
I have one quick question, and that is, did you mention the Sisterhood of the Good Death?
Yes, that's who I was in Brazil.
Okay, all right, yeah. We could talk more about them at another time, but what a wonderful.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say what a wonderful history these women have, and the beauty of them. And you have to be over 50 to be part of the Sisterhood of the Good Death. and they are just beautiful Black women. That's all. Just beautiful Black
They're
women.
the oldest Black sorority, they're saying, outside of Africa. Because, you know, we're talking Brazil. So that's how long they've been around.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot more than just the festival that, you know, I was able to witness. But they're a whole society, like for real, for real. They go back years. So I was just like, I can't believe I made it here. Oh my goodness. Ah. I was just like, okay. Yeah. So I always imagine being a part of something like that. Because I like history. I like being attached to things that have history to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And that festival generates millions of dollars. Millions of dollars every year.
Yes. Yeah. My last words would be a few. Please subscribe to Earth Mama Networks on YouTube, because what the whole, well, Rose can speak to her own purpose, but my purpose is to share information with folks about spirituality. And so there are lots of people who are seeking. And if we can do just a little bit, a small part, and share in truth, trust, and transparency, then I feel I'm living on task. I'm living on purpose. So I would ask that you do that and join us as we go through the week. I know that we're going to have some guests. Ro has lined up guests. And so you will get different opinions and thoughts and information, which will allow us to walk this earth walk with steadier feet and not go back to what we were before this pandemic, but to go forward in a good way. Yeah.
I know. What about you, Ifa Motupe?
Well, I don't know if there's anything I can add except to say yes to everything you said. And, you know, be good to yourself. If you find some information that you can use, that's a blessing to us both, to us all. And then this is a time for us to talk about not just anecdotally information, but also the transformative power of the earth that we live on, which I think we take for granted a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're stuck in the house, we might not have the opportunity to take it for granted. And we can move forward. We can evolve out of this, and we can remember that which has been planted within us, which has been given to us as gifts, as intelligence, as information, as just the way that we're built, and then move forward into the lives that we're meant to have for ourselves. I think upon this time of reflection, some of us may find that we are not living the life that we were designed to live.
Right on.
And we hope that these conversations will encourage you to seek out that information that is unique to you so you can do that. And also use our experiences. So some of these things you don't even have to trip through. You can just go straight to the answer and make up for the time that maybe you feel that you lost. You didn't lose anything. Mm-hmm. But hopefully it's a blessing. And because it's definitely a blessing to us, to me, and to give great gratitude and praise to Mama Ro for putting it together. Because that was a great vision. That was great vision. So thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak out with Sister Allison's comment. She said, I can listen to the ladies all day. These conversations are what I like. It adds value to my soul. And with that, family, we are going to see you all tomorrow. Peace, family.
Bye.
Peace.